last week we're looking at money changers in the temple with Martin, and we've got with us today Dan, and Dan is an accountant. So I kind of feel like he can stand up for himself a bit today, and tell us a bit about who he works for and what he does at Light. So Dan, tell us, who do you work for?
Well, I'm not aligned to a money changer. I don't see accountants as that. But let me. At the moment, I work for an organisation called Hope Citadel Healthcare. They basically provide GP practice care. So you go to your normal doctor. We've got about 10 practices and we've got about 40,000 patients. So I got involved with that a little while ago, and that's where I am today.
Yeah, fantastic. And what sort of organisation are they? And and what attracted you to them? How do you find them?
Yeah, it's a really interesting organisation actually. I got involved about 18 months ago, but the company and got set up. It's a not-for-profit organisation, and it was really built on a passion that a medical student had 10 years ago, and she really saw this whole thing about the inequality of basically the poorest in our society today get the worst healthcare, and that's acknowledged academically and has been done for over 50 years, but no one's been able to solve this. And when she heard about this and was reading in Isaiah 58 and 61, that really inspired her to say, actually, can we create something that goes against this? And that was how Hope Citadel was originally born. She was on an Eden project in Fitton Hill, and a very deprived community, and they didn't have a GP practice. And an opportunity came up, and she applied to run a GP practice as a medical student. Probably didn't even think that it was going to succeed, and probably wouldn't succeed today. But amazingly, they won that contract and set up as a GP practice, and it has doubled and trebled and continued to multiply every year. It's been around now 10 years. It's got now 130 employees and about 6 million turnover. So I love the organisation from the fact that the board is all Christians who work together, who are really inspired to fight against this injustice and to work and pray as an organisation to really meet the needs of those. Several of them are linked to Eden, those people who have gone and lived in those communities, and that builds a real passion in you to really show God's love to them.
Wow, yeah. And how do you find working in that organisation maybe compared to an organisation that hasn't got a lot of Christian involvement?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in various organisations, normally larger organisations over the last 20 years. I've worked for IBM, Barclays and Co-op, and they're very different organisations. And this was a big move for me in terms of actually going from somewhere where you might have 100 accountants working for me down to a very small organisation. But actually, the opportunity to make a difference is so much larger. I found within my career, I've always found a calling to really show how you can live your life out, whether that's in financial services or whether that's I believe everyone can make a difference in their workplace. And I felt equally called to those. What's really nice about this, though, is you can actually feel that you can live it out in a way that's very tangible. And you can make a real difference to those organisations. So been a very difficult challenge, but I've really enjoyed it, and I've not all of our organisation are Christians. It's not exclusively so, and that's right to kind of serve the communities we do. But there is a large number of Christians who come in and want to be part of it, and that has an impact on the organisation.
Yeah, brilliant. And how about all this COVID-19 lockdown, all the rest of it, and the pressures on the NHS? How is that playing out for you and for the organisation?
Yeah, it's not going to surprise you that it's been massive. It's changed everything we do day in, day out, and it's been changed overnight. I was reflecting the other day. I think I was involved in IBM during the .com, financial services during the financial crash, and now COVID during healthcare. So I've either got a call into very difficult situations, or someone's got a sense of humour. It's been a real challenge. But actually, I've seen everything we've done has to change. So we've had to change to video kind of appointments with the GPs. That's changed everything we do. The settings, it's been quite well advertised. I'd say everyone's done it with a real sense of purpose, and the organisation. And what I've seen is when we talked about what do people who have a faith, their faith really step forward, because it's really, they feel very called to this. And what I found is those that feel called to it also are the ones that take a massive step forward during this time of risk. And actually, not all GPs are the same. Everyone feels differently. It might surprise people to find, but actually people feel very differently about it generally. But what I found is there's been some incredible faith that's been seen by the medical staff through to every person in the organisation.
Yeah, fantastic. And what can we pray for, Dan? How can we support you and other people, people in that whole organisation and in similar situations?
Yeah. I think pray for safety and health. I know that sounds really basic, but when people are faced with those very difficult situations, that's a fear that everyone has. So continue to pray for their safety and everything else. And and another prayer I would have is that their passion continues. It's very easy at first to get really passionate about something, but we have seen such amazing stories come back out of the communities that we've been in, raving about how great the doctors have been, how great the medical staff, and when we've come in and been involved. We've also been requested to get involved in lots of things way outside of our scope, because other providers have either buckled or collapsed out of those environments, and we've been asked, would we be as an organisation be willing to step forward? My prayer would be, as we step forward into those, make judgments about where to place the resources that God's given us in terms of doctor's time, etc. That just pray for wisdom in those. We have seen a number of doctors step forward and ask to join us, which, for those who don't know, one of the hardest things when you run a GP practice is to get enough doctors on your payroll, because otherwise you have to go into the short-term market, which can be expensive. We've had people who were overseas who have flown back and requested to join us in the part. We had people who were on maternity leave, ended their maternity leave 6 months early because they passionately wanted to get back involved this time. So that continued passion, these stories that we see, pray for the organisation and every member of the staff and their safety, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for talking to us today. Thank you for sharing that. I would encourage everyone to pray for those things. But thank you too, Dan, for what you do and what your organisation does, and the blessing that is to so many people, and I'm sure many more in the future. And maybe next time when you're looking for a job, maybe check out what's likely to come on the horizon to avoid the crisis.
Yeah, or maybe people should see where I go next to maybe avoid that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, thanks very much for that. God bless.
Thank you.